So I want to talk about Big Pharma for a sec. Does anyone remember me saying a number of videos back that, we have to start thinking for ourselves? If you didn't, you can watch that video right up here. Anyway, in that video, I said things like, who came up with bad words? And it's almost like everybody that came before us, they made up these bad words and people can't say them. But it's like, who came up with that? That kind of leads me into my point. There's been a lot of talk around depression and mental health over the past year and a half since the pandemic started because of working from home and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, working from home seems decent and I've never done it before, but I can see how it can get really old really fast. You're inside all day, presumably alone, or maybe your spouse is also working from home. So it's like you wake up and see them, you take a break to eat lunch and you see them, you finish work and you see them, then you watch TV with them, and then you go to bed with them, and then it's like there was no variety throughout the day. You're talking to people through a computer screen. That's why the saying absence makes the heart grow fonder is the truth. I love chocolate milk, and the last time I had this chocolate milk was 3 weeks ago. So I was missing it, and me and my girl went to get some this past weekend. So, now when I drink it, I enjoy it even more. If it was always there and if it somehow magically appeared in the fridge and I never ran out, I would never get bored of it. But let me get to my point here. Psychedelics have come up a lot recently pertaining to mental health. I've seen articles on LinkedIn, I've seen other articles about them, I've seen Reddit posts and other things like that. But what if Big Pharma, however many hundreds of years ago, told the government and other officials that these mushrooms were bad and they should make them illegal along with weed and things like that? And since then there was this bad stigma around them. We've seen this happen already firsthand with weed. Back when I was in high school, it was illegal and you couldn't grow it and you couldn't possess it and you couldn't smoke it because it was highly illegal. But fast forward a few years, it's now legal. You need a license to grow it, and you can walk into any store and buy it. You just have to be over 19 and you can smoke it anywhere within reason, right? Obviously you can't smoke it inside a hospital or a school or anything like that, but it's totally 100% legal to possess, grow, and smoke as long as you follow some pretty lenient laws in the grand scheme of things when you really think about it. It's a bit different for medicinal purposes, there are a few more hoops that you have to jump through, applying to get permission to use medical weed and stuff like that. And then there are only apparently certain government regulated stores and dispensaries that you have to get it from and stuff like that. And it's really secure, but people do use it for sure. I know for medical weed, it exists in oil form, like an extract, but that's as far as my knowledge goes for it, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure the government isn't gonna deliver rolled up weed for you to your doorstep, but at the same time, you never know. So, after seeing weed get legalized, got me thinking what if there are other things out there that can help us, but they were deemed illegal, like mushrooms, for example. I remember seeing magic mushrooms being associated with hippies and societal challenging people and stuff like that, but maybe it was all just government propaganda. For the record, I'm not saying cocaine or heroin or anything else like that is gonna help us. Maybe it can if we take it in certain doses and do research on them and things like that. But I've seen multiple articles and there are medical trials going on right now in the present with mushrooms. From what I've seen, the trials are being conducted on veterans with PTSD and other people with mental issues and stuff. Will Smith allegedly has an upcoming story in his memoir about ayahuasca, and I know of a science channel here on YouTube where the host Michael, or you probably know him as Vsauce, tried it out and he made a whole video about it. I'll actually link it down below. Elon Musk also said in this great article that I'll link down below that a lot of people making laws, or the ones that made the laws, are from a different era. As a new generation gets into political power, I think we'll see greater receptivity to the benefits of psychedelics. It seems like when the older generation made the laws, everything that altered the mind was suspiciously deemed illegal or banned. But I remember seeing this video where this cop was being interviewed and he said that if he sees somebody that's high, most of the time they just want to go and get food and chill and relax. But if someone is, say, drunk, they could cause a lot more mischief and interrupt the peace. I'm paraphrasing, what he said, but that was the gist of it basically. It's funny because I remember being told that, weed was bad and you should never smoke weed because it'll kill you and stuff like that. And now I'm seeing it help people with pain and maybe even depression in some cases. It's almost like that was government propaganda also. I'd argue that alcohol has way more negatives than weed does. Alcohol can cause health problems when taken in large amounts for a prolonged time, and I'm not 100% sure of the side effects of weed, but I'm sure if taken in large amounts, it can cause some trouble too, but that can happen with basically anything. But alcohol ruins marriages, it ruins relationships, it ruins lives. Like, there are a ton of things that alcohol affect, and you can go and buy as much as you want and nobody even bats an eye in it. It seems like weed and other drugs were, easy to blame, so they just did that. Personally, I've never seen weed ruin anyone's life. I remember this guy I used to work with, he told me he used to drink a lot and stuff like that, and he said it actually saved his life, his marriage, and I think it's been a number of years since he's had a drink. And he said weed is 1,000 times better than alcohol. Shout out to Joe, I hope he's watching and doing well. And you can say the same thing for the pharmaceutical industry. My mom took sleeping pills for a lot of her life, and she took anti-anxiety pills and things like that. And I never asked if they helped her, but if she had to consistently keep on taking them, is that even helping? It seems to me like they were just putting a band-aid on the problem instead of fixing the problem. I remember seeing this quote, and it said a cured patient is a lost customer. And that's a fact, because when you make people's problems go away, they won't need your product anymore, which means they're not giving you money, and that also means you're going out of business. So for a lot of these companies, it's not beneficial to heal people, it's only beneficial to put a band-aid on their problems. I also forgot to say that I've never taken any drugs or psychedelics or anything like that, but I've met and read about multiple people that said it helped them. Some people say it takes you to this magical place and it helps you align with yourself, or it helps your depression, or whatever the case is, but I think the stigma around these things has to change. And it'll happen as the older generation gets phased out, right? New, young people will get elected and things like that. And they'll probably be more open to running clinical trials. And, for the record, I'm not blaming the older generation because that's what they were told. But I think with, our generation or the younger generation, they're a lot more open-minded when it comes to running experiments like using psychedelics to help with things like PTSD instead of just writing prescriptions over and over again. It's obviously an uphill battle because you'll have Big Pharma pulling out all the stops to try and get people to stay on their pills and block bills and laws from being passed. But, if we could get some positive press like we did with weed, it'll definitely benefit the case for psychedelics. To be honest, like I said, I haven't tried any psychedelics or ayahuasca or, anything like that. But what if the answer to our ailments are found in plants and other things? I'm not saying that I'm a hippie and, everything like that. I'm not gonna act like I'm some holistic specialist or anything, but what if the answers lie here on Earth and they were all provided by nature? I mean, when you think about it, a lot of things can be treated with plants and fruits and vegetables and stuff. If you feel sick, you can take honey and lime. If you feel, nauseous, you could take ginger, and, green tea has antioxidants and can help you fight disease and protect your cells. You can drink chicken soup or eat chicken soup if you have a cold. There are many holistic and natural things that we can use to treat many things. So who's to say we can't use things like psychedelics and weed to treat things like PTSD and other mental health issues? You see what I'm saying? When you sit down and actually think about it, it all seems to come together, and you can see and question everything we were told as kids. So to kind of wrap up the video, I hope you can see what I'm trying to say. It's like when we were kids, we were told weed was bad and it was terrible and it would ruin your life, but it's now legal. We were told mushrooms cause you to hallucinate and they're bad and they'll kill you, and now there are clinical trials for microdosing that'll help people with PTSD and mental health and things like that. I'm not going to sit here and say heroin and cocaine will do the same and that I think everything should be legal and decriminalized, but I think with the correct and extensive research, as younger generations get elected into positions of power, we'll see and realize that, maybe everything that we were told as kids isn't all bad. I'm gonna leave, multiple links down below for sources and, YouTube videos and everything like that. And above all, I hope this video brought you some value. And as always, Thanks for watching.